So, if you're stuck in a rut and you don't like nuts, you'll fill your guts with our pork butts.
But yeah, we had a crazy mega session last time where you all finished off the temple, right? You all got the 4 dark flames, moved the observatory to Nuatari, and then pretty much hell broke loose, right? Skeletons of red robes, white robes, and black robes started coming to life. You all kind of dodged them, well, fought some of them, and eventually were taken to what seemed like the outer reaches of space. Near the moons themselves, near the red moon Solinari and the white moon Lunitari, or maybe I got that mixed. But regardless, it turns out that the dark flames that you've all been holding were harboring something of each of you, and they became these shadow versions of yourselves that you all fought alongside your new friend with amnesia that you all found, Isabella. And yeah, you guys all succeeded, but the battle ended like this. The face in the sky stares blankly at you all. Stars, seemingly having stars as eyeballs. An inexplicable scowl forms in spite of no physical mouth. An ethereal mouth? It opens up as the planet Kryn and the 2 moons Solinari and Lunitari linger in immensity from where you all are. Of course, behind it all, a backdrop of darkness and stars. And like a black hole, this mouth starts to suck in and absorb the rocks of this stage, of this strange rocky arena that you're all on. It starts to break apart as the dark flames, which were once your shadow selves, are absorbed by the mouth into this being. Lyx, Sneak, and Isabella are instantly sucked into the mouth. Melvin and Willow, through sheer will and determination, somehow you're hanging on to rocks, I'm assuming, feet in the air as if fighting back a tornado. Is there anything Melvin or Willow say or do before you feel like you're inevitably going to be thrown into this black hole? Kind of reaching out to each other?
Reach out for each other, give a nod, and let go is what I'm thinking.
Okay, with the reach out, I'll let you optionally do an athletics or acrobatics check, both of you, and you can choose. And as all your friends are getting sucked in, you two do hear this being emanating throughout all of space, and it says, "I am the great void in the sky, the connection to all that is, and all that ever will be." As you guys try to reach to one another, maybe fingers touch, and it's not enough to grip on to one another, flinging in like you're getting sucked into a whirlwind, flinging in, listening to this horrifying voice, and then you are all nothing. You all hear nothing. You all see nothing. Who wants to go first?
Sure, I'll be brave.
Alrighty, Willow Venra. This is a good one. Okay, Willow, you are on the ground, and I'm assuming you eventually stand up, and you're in an endlessly dark room. The floor feels like water, except it is not wetting your feet. So very similar to your experience with Kiri Jolith, except the floor, this weird floor, is also dark. So, as opposed to Kiri Jolith, which was light and bright and white, this is pure darkness. Go ahead and do a perception check, and also whatever you want to do, however you react to this.
Well, I definitely think she would call out, since she can't currently see anything, and just start calling the party members' names to see if she hears anybody, if anybody responds.
Yeah, it just kind of, your voice just rings out and echoes. Kind of imagine like Woodward in the Alone episode, if you remember that, just your voice just rings out into this nothingness. Oh shit, okay. Yeah, with a 20 perception, a dirty 20. So yeah, right now it's just Willow in this darkness. You do see in the distance, maybe about a mile away, what looks like a very strange statue. It's kind of lit up a little bit, and you do see these wings coming out of this statue with that dirty 20. It's the only thing you really do see besides the endless darkness. Yeah.
That way then, since she didn't hear her companions, then that's all she can see. Everything else is just nothing.
Okay, so yeah, you head that way. You kind of cut out. I'm guessing you said you head that way. Yeah, and you see this. You see a statue that looks like this. It's emanating this weird aura in the center of it. It looks horrifying. Ignore all the like columns and crap in the background. It's still, that's darkness. You see these giant black feathered wings coming out of this statue, and it's hard to tell if it's organic or spiritual or physical. It seems to be a mix of all these things, of all kinds of matter and creation. And it's pretty startling. It's a startling statue. It's not a pleasant statue to look at. It stands above this small pool that you see there. And with that dirty 20 perception, you immediately realize that this pool is too deep. It's just, it seems like you can kind of see that it's just going endlessly downward. And with this dirty 20, actually, I'll keep it all together. You do hear this whispers, like almost like the wind coming to you as you get closer to the statue, maybe as you were walking toward it, and definitely as you got to it, you hear, dive in, by death. Only then can you meet our queen.
So they specifically, the whisper specifically said our queen at the end.
Yeah.
Am I able to walk around the statue real quick? Do I get anything
Yeah.
else from that, or just same?
Yeah, the wings actually look, they look kind of organic or something. They look like real wings attached to this, some kind
But
of,
like impossibly large. Like this is a huge
yes,
step.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But yeah,
Um,
the pool does go around it too, so it's not just at the front. So yeah, you
Mhm.
see that as well, and you still notice how deep it seems to go in the pool. Yeah, and there's like a disturbing kind of, it's hard to describe it, but it almost feels like, I mean, yes, the whispers, all this is frightening, but there's some kind of calling to you from the pool itself. It's hard to describe it, but it feels like the pool is calling to you.
Since she kind of heard whispers, she's just going to quietly be like, you want me to dive in, and see if there's any response at all, or if it's just the same.
You hear parts of it again. Find death. Only then can you meet our queen.
I think she's going to take a couple seconds to like just get used to whatever weirdness this is. I mean, they just faced God in space, and take a minute to get ready and then go ahead and dive in.
Yeah. So you're swimming in. So you're just kind of diving in, or you're just trying to swim deep? What are you trying to do specifically? Like,
Yeah, I guess.
you're just gonna keep swimming
Coming
down?
down. Yeah.
Okay, so what I'll ask for then, I think, is a constitution check, because you want to see how deep you can go. Yeah. With that 10, I mean, you're swimming down and the pressure's starting to get to your head. The pressure of the water itself. You're not really able to see well what's going on, but you can keep swimming down. And about a minute-ish in, you maybe the fear kicks in or something, but you're just not doing a good job of like breathing well. So what do? You're starting to like kind of cough. And actually, I'm gonna put you on a timer.
Okay. Yeah. Trying to game this out because they said something about dying, but she's not really a fan of dying. So I think she'll start to try to swim back up.
Okay. Do an athletics check at disadvantage as you're coughing, actually. So we're gonna take the worst one. Yeah, it's not good enough. So you start going. The 18 would have been for sure. You start swimming up, seeing kind of the light of the top of that statue again, that weird magic, and you just start coughing. And I don't know if you're thinking of something or if the situations in general are catching up to Willow, but just
I think she'd
a
just be
little,
scared.
yeah, just off your game, unsure of what's going on, maybe a little scared, yeah, without your friends now to take on something weird like this again. And you start to lose consciousness, and your eyes turn into your head, and you start to float in the water, floating in the darkness alone. And then you're floating again, except there's no more water, as suddenly you see this. You see a massive, dark, feathery body. You see a small, white oval on this giant, feathery body that's extending across an endless room of darkness. And you realize that it's kind of like a mask on this pallid, or a pallid mask on this feathery being. And yeah, it's disturbing. I mean, it kind of looks like a giant raven bird thing, but way too overgrown in parts. It's almost too big to contain itself. And then this mask is unsettling because it's so much smaller than everything else about it. It doesn't make sense in relation to the body at all. And it's an expressionless mask. It's a mask with no emotion at all. And it just stares at you.
I mean, can I move at all? You said I was just kind of floating.
Yeah, you're floating. You are able to kind of move. Yeah, you're kind of like floating. You can glide around, I guess.
I think I'll try to slowly get closer. I'm in no rush at all because very imposing figure.
The second you start moving toward it, a feathery, slithering, ridiculously long neck stretches out with the mask as it moves at breakneck speed, slithering like a giant snake, launching itself at you. And the mask is inches from your face, and you immediately see this. And I won't share sound this time. And you see this face inches from you. Pallid mask with a long, horrifying neck. You didn't get anywhere near its body. This neck just stretched out right to you, face to face. A large, echoing, and uncanny, yet somewhat feminine voice rings out in this domain. And I should have had my mask thing, but immediately this being, or I should have had my voice thingy. This being says, Willow, Venra. And there's kind of like a weird tremble to this voice. Why do you disturb me? Why do you disturb me in my domain? And it kind of like a bird kind of tilts its head a little bit, kind of like does this weird little fidgeting every now and then.
We were going up against a huge figure and we were in space, and then I was separated from my group and I heard whispers telling me to come see you. I don't really know anything beyond that. I just figured if they were telling me to come, I should come.
And then you see her feathers kind of like poke up as if like almost like a feral wolf in anger. She starts to rustle and starts to shake. And then her giant long neck looks up at the nothingness above and then looks back down at you and says, Nuitari overreaches. He sent you to me. What do you need? Why did he send you? And then it sounds like this echoing chorus as she says this, and her feathers and her wings start to kind of like grow and envelop around you a little bit, not touching you, but just across this dark domain, just spreading further and further. It's as if she is the domain.
I don't know. I don't know. I thought you were calling for me. I don't know what he wanted.
You were aided by me thus far. Due to fate. A single thread of fate links you to a catastrophe, Willow Venra. Heed my words. Someone of your bloodline will prevent the onslaught of thousands of dragons upon Kryn. Death, devastation, and fire will consume the land unless you or someone else with your blood prevents it.
Someone else with my blood? Are there others?
There is another.
Okay.
To tell you who they are will surely tempt the threads of fate. And then as she says the threads of fate, you see all these golden lines start to touch all parts of her body, and some of them start to move and slither toward you. The threads of fate that only I can see, and Nuitari overreaches to know more of.
My apologies. I was misled.
Misled? Speak. What do you mean?
I thought you were calling for me. I wouldn't have dove in if I didn't think that was what you wanted.
Fate is not for me to decide. We are meeting for a reason, even if it is by Nuitari's hand. Perhaps it is good for you to know why I've kept you around, why I see you as a champion, or perhaps you will fail and this other will succeed, or there is the thread that leads to absolute catastrophe. And then she just keeps like kind of lingering closer and closer to you, and she says, you are now free of my hand, Willow Venra. To intervene with your life or death at this point could break the threads of fate that I've helped to maintain. You have my blessing, but you do not have my safety. Do I make myself plain?
I believe so. I don't know how to talk to gods. Your blessing,
second one.
Wings?
Sorry, I missed that.
The blessing, is that the wings?
Your thread will lead you to that answer. That I am assured of. Any final questions, Willow?
Are my friends okay?
They are doing as Nuitari intended, learning more of their truth. It seems you've awakened a great power again in Kryn. Whether it will balance the forces of fate or destroy them remains to be seen.
I just want to get back to my friends.
Very well. That I can do for you.
Thank you.
And then she just starts to fly up with one swoop of her wings, and the threads start to pull you almost like a puppet. You are literally flying, dangling as she's going into something above, flying at breakneck speeds, but she's not flapping much. It's just a few flaps and just moving at impossible distances until there is light. But as this was happening, other things were happening for others at the same exact time. Alrighty, who's next? Y'all gotta go. Y'all gotta go.
So bad. I just met a scary guy.
That's great. That was scary. Cool. Who's next?
I can go. Okay.
Cool. Let me get Yoshi ready.
Maybe should we do like popcorn, where like if we do this in the future, the first person just selects the next one?
What are we doing too? Is it? I'm sorry, I didn't catch everything. Are we doing like?
So you've all been teleported, you've all been absorbed by this black hole, and now you're all seeing different things.
Oh,
You're,
okay.
you're
I
all
understand.
experiencing different things. Yeah, so you're all actually going to be alone in these small little segments here.
All right. Yeah. All right. I'll
Yep.
go next after Lyx.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, cool. All right, Lyx. Okay.
Torpedoing into the void.
Yeah. So you're torpedoing into the darkness. And you, funnily enough, I didn't mean to make this connection, but you are also underwater, but immediately. You're immediately underwater in a very dark room. And yeah, you kind of are, it looks like a very tall room that you're swimming in. Like this once was a giant altar of some kind. You see river fish swimming around you in the dark water. It's a massive cylindrical room. It kind of feels like a place of worship, maybe. It's beautiful, but subtle wall designs kind of spiral down into the darkness below you. And below you on the floor is a large circular floor, kind of with different like cool ornamentations that are kind of creepy but beautiful at the same time. Maybe some arcane kind of language and dialogue spiraling around on the circular floor. And go ahead and do a perception check, actually. And maybe a constitution check, because you are underwater.
Yeah, I was gonna say, am I breathing?
Yeah, no, do both. You're not. You're just your old lungs.
Perception is 20, dirty 20.
Nice. Hell yeah. So yeah, you immediately with that dirty 20 realize that you're in that room where the wind was being controlled, right? So in the Temple of Nuatari, where the wind was being controlled, where Sneak jumped onto the folding boat and got to the statue, except because you see that statue way high up above. So you're underwater where that happened. You're in the water that was moving around nonstop. With the dirty 20, you also see someone sitting on the floor at the very bottom. Someone's just sitting almost as if they're meditating. It's hard to tell. They seem to have long hair, just kind of, and it's obviously just floating around in the water. Yeah, and they're down there. And what'd you get for Constitution again?
I got an 8.
You're struggling heavy to breathe. And at this point, you are closer to the bottom, to this being, than you are to the top. You're quite below.
Far, and it's a humanoid. It looks like my size or bigger than me.
Well, actually, yeah, with the dirty 20, it looks like a silhouette. You don't know if it's like the murkiness of the water. It just looks like a pretty tall humanoid. They do seem humanoid. They have like arms and legs, but they look so dark. But it's hard to tell if it's like the murkiness of the water from this angle or what. But they seem to be sitting down there. Their hair's floating and they're doing okay as far as you can.
Does it look like the creature in the forest?
It does, especially as you try to get closer.
Okay, I'm gonna keep swimming toward it. I don't know, struggling, hoping maybe they'll give me some air.
Yeah, you're kind of coughing, and yeah, you're losing your breath, and the being looks at you, and this is what you see. You see this being of pure darkness, just hair floating up, kind of meditating, as I said. You feel pure fear, but you can't resist it. You want to keep going to it, especially now that you feel like you're dying, you're about to lose consciousness. And then suddenly it looks at you and goes, speaking into your head only, no mouth, no face, no nothing, just shadow. It says, "Ah, child of darkness, you return to me." And then it grabs your hand and starts to lean in closer and closer. "Have you found her?" And
Can I speak underwater?
You can't speak. Your thoughts, you can maybe think, but your thoughts are starting to dim.
Okay, no, in my head.
Right, as you're struggling, you're starting to lose consciousness, and then it starts going, and the room starts to shake violently. The room is shaking at an intense, almost like an earthquake all around you, as the water level seems to start rapidly lowering, decreasing, and it's being sucked, as this being's holding you, it's being sucked into the being. The being's absorbing all the water of this tremendous room, hundreds of feet, a massive volume, as all the water's gone. There's fish kind of flopping around, and you are still being held by this being, but I'm assuming like coughing out water as it lets you down surprisingly gently. It doesn't like slam you down or anything. And yeah, and you're gasping for air as not a single drop of water remains in this room, and you now see it as this kind of altar space. The being stands about 7 feet taller than you and crouches to your face as this terrifying whispery voice that you remember repeats, "Have you found her?"
Chest heaving, hands on my knees. No, I haven't found whoever you're looking for.
I see. Well, it seems you're too weak.
Maybe if you could give me a hint or some sort of characteristic of what they look like.
You will know. Desire. Desire. It's what I have. It's what I know. What is your desire, child of dark?
Control
Over what?
everything.
And yeah, he just lets out this really disturbing small coughing laugh, almost a pain laugh. And then he looks at you and says,
Sure, I can grant you this. But first, who?
The creature from the forest.
What is my name?
I don't know.
Really? After all of this?
and then he kind of like flits around like a shadow, just moving around the room, like disappearing.
You truly do not know. Then perhaps someone should help you. Someone with more knowledge.
And then all of a sudden, it appears in front of you, and its arm blasts through you, but no gore, no blood, no nothing, just its arm. An ethereal arm cuts through your body and lifts you up. And it does hurt. You're being lifted up. And suddenly, like Full Metal Alchemist truth, a white, large smile appears on this being's face, just staring at you, smiling and trembling. It's a trembling smile as it's lifting you up, and it's holding on to something inside of you, and it's pulling.
Is it Craig?
Do you say that in your in a pained voice?
Craig?
It just laughs at you, and he says,
If you so decide.
and then it pulls, and a massive, shadowy being flits out of you, Krakenthrock, but towers above you, dozens of feet above you, a wingspan that's unimaginable. Except he doesn't look like flesh. He looks like an ethereal, flaming version of himself, taller and larger than imaginable. And Crake's green, glistening eyes are the main colors that you see as this glistening ethereal acid is starting to come out of his mouth, and it looks like this weird shadowy being of itself, and it looks at you both and it says,
Ah, Lord Militari, thank you for freeing me of this rat.
and he starts to look at you as if he's ready to spew acid all over you. And this is what you see, Lyx, and I need you to roll for initiative. As this ethereal, cosmic...
I rolled a 20.
A nat 20?
Yes.
Hell yeah. Okay, you'll be first. Of Crake appears before you. So kind of like not a fleshy version. It definitely looks like some kind of spiritual version. I imagine more kind of the aesthetic of the left one, but the vaporiness of the right one. So yeah, it's still not clear. The form is not clear. It's kind of moving around in wispy flames as Crake stands before you, and apparently Lord Nuatari nearby, but Nuatari is not doing nothing. Alrighty, what do you do first? As it looks like Crake is about to attack you.
Oh my god. I don't even know. Well, I'll cast False Life as my action.
Okay.
And so False Life is one of my new spells, and imagine that like demon version of Lyx that I fought last time, and like the demon versions of ourselves. Lyx facsimile in front of me, and I get some bonus to my health.
Okay, so like, okay, yeah, let's say that Shadow Lyx somehow appears again, and you don't lose a spell slot. Somehow, something in this room, the energy here, channels through you as Shadow Lyx kind of appears again. You remember Shadow Lyx was like kind of a quiet, weird version of you? Oh yeah, actually, I have a new song for this. Yeah, so she gives you more health?
Yes.
Okay, alrighty. And then Craig says,
Finally, you will die!
and then he pumps up his chest as a giant acid flame breath goes, or just an acid spray of immense power goes through to you. I need you to go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw.
Ooh, how's a 10?
That's a massive fail.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So wait, how much health does your thing give you?
I'm at 42 plus 8.
Oh, wow. Perfect. Because you take 40 damage. As this acid just sprays all over you, burning you to a crisp. And go ahead, now you go. So you're suffering. Your shadow version, I think, already just disintegrated. And Nuatari is just laughing. The creepy white smile that came out of nowhere, just there, as Nuatari is doing nothing, and you are completely alone.
Is So this shadow being, how close am I to it?
Nuatari?
Craig.
He's probably toward the back of the room, 50 feet.
Okay.
And
So
yeah, he didn't really get close to you. He just stood where he was in arrogance and just blasted you with his acid breath.
okay, I'm gonna rush toward him and
Okay.
cast Vampiric Touch
Okay.
from a 30-foot range.
Hell yeah. Okay, what do I have to do?
And I
Does it
make
roll
an
to hit?
attack.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. 24.
That hits. Okay.
Okay,
Nice.
so the target takes 3d6 necrotic damage.
Okay. And Craig's kind of leaning. Oh, go
Okay,
ahead.
so he takes 14 damage and I regain 7 health.
Hell yeah. Okay. So you do this. You kind of like launch yourself and do this. Maybe like what does it look like? Go ahead and describe it.
Okay,
Before you go, Craig is kind of like starting to walk at you. Craig's starting to walk at you like this giant lizard that he is, cockily laughing, but also impressed. He's like,
You lived. You survived my attack. Perhaps you're not so pathetic after all.
and now you strike.
So I'm like barely hanging on and I just groan and I run as fast as I can toward him and a shadow of his own claw comes out of me and I scratch against him and pull back some of his health.
Awesome. Yeah, you kind of I kind of imagine that you actually slash like part of his face and his eyeball for a moment disappears, the greenness, as he goes like surprised, totally shocked that you landed a hit on him. And as this happens, Nuatari uses his reaction, grabs you where you were wounded, where you're bleeding and you have acid, and grabs Drake right in the eyeball, grabbing his face, holding his head down with pure power. And the dragon's kind of trying to flail, trying to get out. And then Nuatari looks at you and says,
I am the great void in the sky. Recollection of all that is. And all that ever will be.
and Craig screams in agony and pain as he seems to be getting absorbed into Nuatari, just getting taken into this being absorbed. Air seems to be rushing around. You start to realize that the air of the room above in that statue room, the power that was going on was probably just Nuatari's meditation affecting that room as the energy in this room just keeps shaking and moving and getting Craig into Nuatari. And then he looks at you and you feel fully healed, all spell slots, all your level 5 stuff, all your level 4 stuff, and you feel Craig back inside of you. And then Nuatari holding you up still, or no, I guess it was kind of like an Adam and God moment or whatever. Craig was above and you were below. Looks at you kind of holding your hand still and says, and kind of back to the whispery, creepy voice says,
Now the channel is open. The great shadow breaker, Krakeenox, the leveler, can no longer hide. You have control.
So now what this means, I don't really know how to describe it, but it's a channel. The channel to Crake is open. As Crake has shut you down in this campaign constantly, pushed you away, he no longer can. You control that channel with Crake. You can shut Crake out and you can talk to Crake whenever you want now. So the channel is open. You wanted control and Nuatari has given you control.
Nice.
So yeah, mark that down or whatever. And you can even do it out of session too, if you ever want to talk to Crake for whatever reason. Obviously, Crake is still Crake. And then Nuatari looks at you. Now that Crake has said it, this is Nuatari this whole time. And actually, can I do a quick let's actually take a break soon, I think. But I just want to do a quick out of character thing because I'm just freaking out about this. When I did that shadow being in the woods way long ago, I knew that was Nuatari in my head, but I had no idea that you guys would want to go to the Nuatari temple, to the Shadow Temple. I had no idea that was going to happen. I created that out of, I think it was Abbey or like a combination of you all that wanted to go there. So that just was fucking awesome and just some of the best D&D shit. Like totally did not have that planned. So, but I knew that was Nuatari way back then. Anyways, okay, I think Abby's letting Binks out. Let's go ahead and take a break, I think, just because the dogs are going bananas. We'll continue a little bit more with Abbey, but we'll be back in 10 minutes, and then I guess we'll go with Colton after Abby's, she's almost done. She's got a little bit more left. And then we'll end off with Melvin. So yeah, Lyx, you have the channel open now to Crake, so he can never shut you out again, and you can talk to him. I mean, basically think of it as being able to call or text someone without them having any choice of when to stop or start.
Okay, so can I test it out?
Yeah, so New Atari just told you about this channel, right, that they opened. And yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so into the back of my mind, I say hello.
New Atari!
You just hear this horrifying scream of New Atari, like in pure anger, and it does kind of like rattle you a bit, but it doesn't hurt you.
Okay.
So it's all these curses that you actually understand in Draconic, just the worst curses ever in Draconic, speaking this other language, just pure agony, anger, frustration, hatred. Any curse you can imagine is said, is being screamed right now in this booming, angry voice.
I kind of like try to cut him off and I say,
And he cuts off immediately as you think that.
oh, no. Like I'm saying
Oh.
something to interrupt him.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And so I kind of interrupt him and I just ask, am I your progeny?
He just does this insane maniacal laugh. He says,
You think a pathetic gnome like you, not even a pure blood gnome, a gnome of forests and of rocks. You think a pathetic worm like you would be related to someone as grand and legendary as me?
I've missed you.
Being totally racist, just saying you're some disgusting mixed blood gnome. You're not even a pure blood of one or the other.
I respond, I've missed you.
You but tasted my potential, my power, you worm. Next time, you will not be so lucky.
Understood. And now I cut off our conversation.
And he tries to like yell at you something else, and then yeah, you kind of cut him off as if you're hanging up on him.
Do I have control of my body?
Yeah, you're fine. You're back on the ground. And Nuatari's creepy smile is gone now. It's just blackness again. And the hair is kind of waving, the long hair waving to one side.
I'll bend the knee and kind of bow my head and say thank you to Nuatari.
Child of darkness, I should thank you once you complete what I desire. But now, it seems you are ready.
And then Nuatari looks at you and says,
You wish to be a black robe?
Yes.
Very well.
and then he reaches into his chest and pulls out a head, a black head of a robed person, just a head coming out, and pulls them out further and further. And it's the mother again that you saw holding Isabella with the crystal with the other sisters. And she's kind of there smiling, and she looks kind of crumbly again, but a little more well put together, but mostly veiled, hard to fully see who they are or what their expressions really are. As Nuatari keeps pulling out more of them, more black robes, more, until dozens surround you, and they're all around you. And the old mother with her deteriorating face greets you again and says,
Are you ready, Lyx Sandbottom?
Yeah.
So you reveal, almost instinctually, you hear these whispers in your head of some language you don't know, but you get the feeling that you need to reveal your shoulder. And is it, your right shoulder?
I don't remember. Let's say, because it's been green shields on one, and then whichever is the open one.
Sure. So let's go with the right. As the witches start to kind of wave back and forth in this circle, the mother approaches you and they're chanting in this language, in this song, one that doesn't really make sense. Maybe something like this, some of them with deeper voices than you could imagine. They start doing this chant. And then some of them are wailing as they're moving back and forth, screaming, wailing. Some of them are laughing, very witch circle horrifying-esque scene. Some of them are chanting in the dark, there is only one. In the darkness, there is only one. And then the mother grabs a blade tinted with something black and pierces you. And let's say you actually lose like 5 health at this, as she's cutting your right shoulder, carving what looks to be a crescent moon onto it, but you know it's not a crescent moon. What matters in this image is the dark circle that's blocking out whatever light is behind it. The pain is bad, and then it becomes worse as it's stinging. Do a constitution check.
Ooh, how is it 5?
Not good. You're in agony as you fall to the ground, prone, and then suddenly Nuatari's long black hair and head appear above you. No body, it's just like the head's kind of appeared in the space above you. And then he starts to wail. As what looks like a stream of tears falling from what would be eyes falls onto your tattoo, onto this new carving onto you. And you hear bells ringing, you feel like you're losing health, and then you're getting it back at the same time. You're dying and living at the same time. And it's Nuatari screaming and screaming as the tears of Nuatari finish your carving, and you now have all your, black robe initiate spells, even though you may have used them. It's fine. You officially have them all as Nuatari disappears, kind of fades away like a shadow hit by light, and the witches and the sisters look at you and smile and say, "Welcome, sister." And now we go on to the next one.
That was
You wanna go?
crazy.
That was wild.
The music like it ended at just the right
Yeah,
time.
what the heck? That's
I'm not
insane.
sure if it did that. I was like,
I didn't stop it. No, it stopped on its
I
own.
wanted to throw up.
No, it stopped on its own completely.
Oh
That's
man.
perfect.
Yeah, it was.
Oh man, lots of good hits. All
For
right,
sure. Hey, do you want to double check your mic? Sorry, I didn't want to
oh, shit.
interrupt during
I
the...
did not put it on. Shit. You
Yeah.
heard me? Did you hear me?
Yeah, I
well?
heard you good. Yeah, I
Okay.
was just like, it's a little quieter.
Shit, my bad. I did forget to put it on. Okay, I'm not sure if Colton is good to go. Melvin, are you okay if we just jump to you? Oh wait, Colton's thumb came up. Okay,
I'm
sorry.
good.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, it got dark. Okay, Colton, yours is less scary, I think. We'll see. Yeah, so Sneak, you awaken on the ground. You are laying down in a beautiful forest, Sneak. The birds chirp and you see insects of all types flittering by in the daylight. It's honestly not a day too different from one that you may have had back in Bogler in the woods, just kind of laying around on the grass, enjoying life, enjoying nature. Yeah, and you're just kind of here right now among the trees.
I guess I would just kind of stretch and ponder like how did I get here? What was I doing previously? Maybe it doesn't connect right away what I was doing. Like maybe it was I just wrap it up to another crazy night and I just fell asleep in a bush.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I'll look around.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean literally you were like, yeah, it might feel like a dream, I guess, right? Because what the hell, you were in space, scary faces, you fought evil versions of your friends and you. It was insane. So yeah, go ahead and do a perception check actually, if you're gonna look around.
13.
Okay. That's good enough to catch a rustling in the bushes.
Okay, yeah, I'll go investigate it.
As you approach that rustling, a bunny kind of jumps out and scurries about, and you watch the bunny go into this meadow, and you see two kender. You could tell by the size immediately that they're most likely kender. They could be kids, but they look like they're really geared up, almost like you, like very similar to your kind of gear. So you're probably thinking it's not kids with, armor and weapons and shit.
I might get closer, but maybe not try to alert them. Like I
Do
just
a
maybe want to
stealth
get
check.
Okay. 15.
Nice. Okay, that's good. That's good enough to be pretty close and actually within earshot and maybe even to see them better. And you look at them and you see these kender, they're masked actually, very similar mask to what you wear, kind of like that cloth one that you used to have. They're armed. They look like they have crossbows and daggers and even long swords. They're walking and they look like your parents, Sneak. They look like Ma and Pa, except they're 30 years younger. They look like much younger versions of themselves, walking around, able-bodied, no longer, unable to move on. They can move on their own. And actually, Colton, I want to give you the chance if you want to help describe what your younger parents look like. Your older ones I kind of imagined as, white-haired, scraggly-haired, twigs and bushes, really cute little people. But now they look more like, they're younger.
I'd like to imagine like it's like 70s sepia, like that type of like gradient film, and you like may see them both. And I would imagine Ma, she still has like gray hair, even though she's still young. She like got gray earlier or something, but it looks like really good on her, And then yeah, Pa has like maybe light brown auburn hair or something, but it's very like 70s vibe, even though it's probably like
I love that.
1770. I don't know.
Cool.
But yeah.
Okay. So yeah, kind of like a 70s vibe. That makes sense with Ma. I mean, they're still pretty old because, in the current age, they're probably like, I don't know, 80s or something. So 30 years ago is still, middle age. So yeah, I think some gray hair makes sense. And yeah, it looks like they're kind of like, they look pretty focused. They look close together. They look like they themselves are kind of trying to stealth around these woods. And then you hear Ma, who I don't know if you remember, but the names I gave them are your dad is Stealth and your mom is Stabs. I'm okay to change that if you want to, but that's their spy names. So Stealth and Stabs. And Ma kind of looks around and like you with your good stealth check, you're able to react in time, kind of like duck behind a tree or something before she notices, but she says, I've got a feeling we're being watched. A very familiar presence. And then she paused, kind of like, you're imagining it. You're imagining it, Ma. Let's just keep going. Come on, we're almost there. And they sound very clear. They sound very with it mentally.
I'm gonna definitely just like try to hang back because I'm in a little bit of like Sneak's in a little bit of disbelief. He's not sure what he's witnessing. If he's in history, he knows like if he's in the past, he doesn't want to mess anything up. You know, he just wants to maybe watch something. Yeah, so he'll stay
That's
observant.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, so you're just trying to observe and learn. And yeah, as they're walking through, like they go from being focused to kind of being playful lovebirds all of a sudden, you know, kind of grabbing hands every now and then, maybe picking up a flower or two for one another, pointing out birds, naming birds, until they finally reach a river. You kind of hear this gurgling little river, maybe more of a creek, just kind of bubbling in the distance. But you get closer and closer as you're kind of moving around bush to bush, tree to tree, avoiding them, them seemingly kind of distracted with whatever they're trying to do and with each other. And then you hear your dad say, look at your mom and say, we'll be home soon enough. Smarts and Sly, they're keeping little Sneak safe. We'll have our new baby boy in our arms soon. Once we find these final targets, our entire family will be free. And they kind of hold each other's hands tightly and like look at each other pretty intensely and lovingly. And they kind of step behind the trees that are kind of blocking what you assume is the river. So yeah, what do you do?
I don't even know. I don't know. Sneak's just in such disbelief. So they're like kind of out of sight now.
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely out of sight now. They're pretty close. They're still close. You know exactly where they're heading, or the general direction at least. But yeah, they're out of sight.
Oh no, I guess Sneak would just probably sit down for a second, recuperate his breath, try to really understand what's going on. Maybe he'll like smell his breath to see if there's alcohol on it. He's like, no, I'm still sober. So I don't know. Like maybe I want to try to like, so they're obviously trying to do something in order to protect or get one last thing done. I don't know, dude. I guess I'm gonna just sneak closer and see if I could just figure out what they're doing. Just keep watching them, I guess.
Yeah, so you kind of peek your head out of the bushes, maybe where they were headed, and there is a beautiful little creek. Kind of, and there's no shrubs really here. There's a lot less to hide behind. It's more of an open kind of little like hilly little meadowy area with the woods in the background, but not here. As right behind the creek, on the other side of the creek, is a beautiful but simple wooden cabin. It's sitting calmly by this peaceful creek, and your parents kind of wait on the other side of the river, seemingly kind of catching their breaths as they draw their weapons. They draw their crossbows and daggers out.
I guess I'm gonna probably just draw my cross. I'm gonna just get my thing ready too. I see them doing it. Maybe I can just be ready as well. I'll just ready up.
Okay, so you ready up? Are you gonna? They're kind of like saying something to each other, and then they jump over this river. It's small enough to jump over the creek and kind of like roll, cool little ninja roll to the other side when they land safely. As they move closer, kind of like steadily, almost back to back, almost gun to gun, back to back, steadily and lowly head up toward this cabin, to the door of this wooden cabin. Are you gonna try to follow still?
Can I maybe like cause some sort of distraction for them and then just try to bum rush into the house myself and take care of it so they don't have to?
So you want to try to get in front of them at risk of being seen? Is that what you're saying?
No. Let me rethink this.
You can try that. You can try that. Or you can potentially try to go around the house. I'm not sure what you're trying.
Let me try to go around the house. Yeah, let me try to go around the house. I would like to. Okay, so I'm assuming they're kind of entering the front door together.
Yeah, they're about to. They're kind of walking up still. They're not at the door yet.
The problem is I don't know who they're going for. So I don't want to just go in there blazing, and just like killing people. I might kill the wrong person. Oof. You know what? I'm gonna just sit back and watch. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm gonna just sit back and watch, but I'm gonna be ready just in case I hear if something. You know what? No. I'm gonna move in closer to a window or to the back door, but I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna watch.
Okay, so I'll have you do an acrobatics check to jump over the river because you haven't done that yet. And then I guess I'll keep your stealth. Okay, you do jump over. It's not as clean as you would have thought, and you actually kick around some dust and rocks and immediately both of your parents look your way, and they're staring right at you. And then they look above you, and then they look to the right and to the left. And Pa's kind of like, "Did you hear that?" And then Ma's like, "Just focus. We're almost there." And then she kind of looks at him like really lovingly and says,
Okay.
"So they didn't. Even though you're basically in the open space. There's no way they wouldn't see you, but they don't see you. They just heard what you did."
Interesting. Okay.
Does that change anything?
Nope. I still want to do it. That makes me more confident in my decision.
So sorry, are you following them or going to a window?
I'm gonna go to the back door, to the window, and see if I can
Okay.
just peek into the back window still.
Yeah, okay. So as you are kind of walking up, because you still have to kind of walk up near them, because they're obviously next to the door if you're going around, realizing that they can't hear you, you see your parents one last moment. It's kind of hard to avoid it because they both take off their mask right before they enter the door, and they're both crying. Tears are streaming down their eyes. And Ma says to Pa, "We'll be free of the Knights of the Rose after this, and our kids will never need to kill again." And then Pa kind of goes in and like kind of kisses Ma's forehead lovingly as they have their crossbows aimed up at this guy ready to barge in. I'm guessing you still go to the window. This scene just kind of caught your attention as you were doing that. Yeah, you go to the window, do a perception check at this window. You do find one on the right of the house, it's a pretty open window actually.
Oh,
Oh
19.
shit, nice. Yeah, you see two humanoids. They look like humans kind of in what looks like maybe a living room space, a very simple area. And then right next to you, like literally across the wall from you, you can't see them, but you know that they're literally over the window. You hear what sounds like a baby going kind of like whining, as suddenly you hear the doors burst and it goes to darkness as everything starts to, you zoom out of all this scene and it all goes away from you. Sorry, Colton. That's all you get.
Wow. That's still enough. I
Nice.
felt that was like a scene of like, I don't know, some Quentin Tarantino movie where they're about to like kill everybody in the whole house or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. Great job, man. Alrighty, Melvin, last but not least. Okay, sorry, let me just grab a few things real quick. Where is
Oh no,
my
why do you need to grab things? Oh.
Okay, alrighty. So give this, oh yeah, let me turn off the water, sorry. Alrighty, so here we go. So Melvin, actually, oh, let me turn that down. Yeah, there's music, and it's not Melvin actually, it's Melodia Mirage. You are Melodia Mirage right now. And you're in a dimly lit but classy bar. It's an establishment. It's a fancy, or it's not a fancy establishment, but it's a good establishment. Candles align many tables as a dark-skinned, new and nesty elf polishes glasses behind a fairly well-stocked bar. Several new Nessie elves and patrons are in attendance, most flaunting decorum, style, and wealth, either through their clothes, through their purchases, or their attitude, or all of the above. And everyone is waiting in anticipation for the main act of the night has finally arrived. The spotlight shines on the stage as Melodia Mirage appears. And let me show real quick what this looks like. Kind of an idea of what I'm imagining. Classy, dim lit, still a nice establishment, but pretty dark, candles everywhere. Definitely a place for the finer patrons, however few they may be in Gorge or Hannes of this place. So Melodia, what performance do you do?
I think it would be something kind of jazzy, something seductive, but something fabulous with a whole lot of vocal runs.
Inspired by all the people around you and just the hype and anticipation of this event, Melodia Mirage becoming a well-known name in these parts now. Go ahead and do a performance check at advantage, Melodia.
Ooh, heck yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, you kill it with this awesome, I'm imagining, like, from what you described, kind of maybe sensual, jazzy, not too fast, right? Not too fast of a thing, just a very vocal focused performance, one that really knocks out the audience as they stand up at the end of your performance and applaud like crazy. The establishment is booming as the people of Gorge Hannes cheer on their new local legend, Melodia Mirage. Some roses of purple and black hues are being thrown onto the stage of Melodia Mirage after their great performance. And then the audience kind of starts to simmer down after quite an applause, and there's a bit of silence, right, as you're getting ready for your next performance, your next act. But before you get to go, one large, balding dark elf with exquisite clothing and jewelry stands up after the applause ends and after everyone sits down, and he starts another clap, a slow clap, a slow, powerful clap. Melodia, you immediately recognize him as one of the 3 leaders of a local faction who call themselves the Triple Threat. He is simply known as Boss Hilthar, and he looks like this. And he's standing up, clapping, just this giant of a dark elf of a new and nesty with menacing fangs and all. And he says, "Now that was one hell of a performance. How much do I gotta pay to?" And then before he can finish his sentence, the sound of an arrow flitting through the air lights up the silence. And before it can strike the boss, a slash of a black sword splits the arrow in 2. Boss Kilthar's head bodyguard, a tall, menacing, overly tattooed, yet somehow still very handsome if you're into that kind of tough guy, tattooed, horrifying aesthetic, but still, has the jawline, has the muscles, all that. Has the long, I'm actually kind of imagining Dritz here a little bit. Has that long hair. It's not white like Dritz, but black. A handsome Nuanesti. Handsome but terrifying, especially as his eyes are darker than most Nuanesti. Basically pupilless, just black. This bodyguard slashes this arrow before it hits the boss with a sword, parrying it, and then he yells out, "It's the Shadow Hand. Protect the boss and fight back." Not really yelling it, but somehow still having a loud emanating voice, even though he's not really yelling, he's not really having that much inflection. And immediately a bunch of these thugs and goons for the boss get up and get their crossbows out and start shooting as you are in between all of these arrows as robed figures storm the front of the building, breaking through windows, coming out, rolling in, as apparently the Shadow Hand, another criminal faction of this area, is facing off with the Triple Threat. You are on stage, Melodia. What do you do?
Oh shit, they shoot. She kind of ducks and is like, oh shit. I guess she's like, oh man, I guess.
So you're kind of
Hello?
ducking? Oh yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so Melodia's absolutely kind of ducking, trying to see what's going on. Maybe there's like a side of the stage where like Melodia can kind of but she's also a nosy bitch, first and foremost. Like she's like, oh, they shooting. I gotta get out of here.
So go ahead and do a perception check if you're being a nosy bitch. Okay, that's good enough for this, as it's unmistakable to see that same bodyguard that I described just slashing through, ducking, kicking up tables to block crossbow shots, jumping over them and just annihilating these rogue beings with this sword and crossbow combination that he's kind of doing. As it looks like the boss has been taken back somewhere with his other goons, and they're just fighting and fighting as this one single person seemingly taking out all of these people. Suddenly, you are surrounded as someone catches you, kind of steps on your hand. As you actually go ahead and do a dex check to maybe try to react to this. Hell yeah. Okay, yeah. One of the Shadow Hands, totally robed with a creepy black mask, tries to step on your hand, and you totally dodge it. As a point,
I just got these nails done.
Yeah, I'll give you a moment to react actually, as they're taken aback by you noticing them.
She snatches her hand away. She just got this fresh set. You're not gonna fuck up my nails. Not today, sweetheart. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Yeah,
Can she punch him in the face?
Yeah, go ahead. Roll to hit. Just roll a hit and add your strength modifier. So just roll d20, add strength.
How about a 9?
Yeah, not good enough. As you swing in this anger, you have the time to talk all this, and even though you took him aback, they kind of slap your hand away, grab a sword, and swing it at you. But before it connects, the hand disappears as another sword stabs through this guy's chest from behind, and he falls limp, and the bodyguard is there with the long black hair, tattoos everywhere, kind of like, I'm thinking, for lack of a better way to describe the tattoos, kind of the tribal style tattoos, a lot of those all over the body, including some on the face, but mostly just covered and kind of look, some of them look almost arcane in nature or like a weird language. And he looks at you with his pitch black eyes and flowing dark hair. And he says, "Do not worry, beautiful. You are safe with me." And then he touches one of the tribal tattoos on his shoulder as he puts away his sword. He puts away his weapons, touches one of the tribal tattoos on his shoulder, and it starts to glow purple. And flames burst out of his hand, incinerating all the goons that were coming to surround you and attack you both. All of a sudden, an arcane user as well, as all these people start burning, turning into ash.
Now that's a file.
And suddenly the scene starts to zoom out. As you see Gordrohannes, and do you want to describe a little bit of it? Just kind of like an aerial view of Gordrohannes if you can. And it could just be this little area. You don't have to go too crazy.
It's kind of a sprawling city. There's definitely like dilapidated buildings. There are some nicer ones. There's definitely a bad part of town. But let's be real, that takes up most of the like square like area of the city.
Yeah. So exactly, yep. And even if there isn't necessarily, you know, a bad part of town, there's bad organizations that just fight for power in this place constantly. And this was one of your final, I want to say one of your final experiences here before maybe Melvin Melodia decided like it's time to play music somewhere else maybe. Alrighty. So now we are back. And so yeah, you're all floating together again with all these memories that you just had of these experiences individually here now, and you're in this pure dark space again, but there's nothing, there's no light, there's no stars. Oh, that's a big old cat. Sorry, I just saw the kitty. Hi, buddy. Oh, cute buddy. But yeah, sorry, you guys are in darkness again. You're all back together, kind of floating around each other, and you all hear a voice, and the voice says,
"Do you wish to be stronger, to face my mother and her legions?"
And it's just kind of this whisper echoing around this realm.
Is that new Atari again?
As you say that, there's kind of laughter kind of echoing around this room, this whispery, scary laughter. And yeah, he asks again,
"You wish to be strong?"
Last time I listened to you, the god that likes me got pissed off, so I don't really like this.
I don't know what new Atari is, so I can't validate that.
Melodia? Melvin?
You are Melvin, actually.
Melvin is like kind of looks towards Lyx, thinking that perhaps the mother of new Atari might be Takesis, might be Tigifer. Get your ass out of the like frame.
So do you say this to Lyx?
Yeah. I feel as though the stories about the new Anesti being connected to new Atari, I don't like it, but man, oh man, that dragon army, I don't know. Maybe we should consider it, gang.
Do you mention that you think it's Takesis, that his mom is Takesis? You saying Takesis, immediately you feel this immense, it feels like gravity is about to crush you as this pressure is coming in on all of you, and you hear,
"I'll lost my mother. Though she create, I will never serve her or her mission. I ask again in one final time. Do you wish to be stronger, or do you wish to die by her hand?"
If it'll save my friends, I guess we've got to make a deal with this demon.
I wish to be stronger.
I wish to be strong enough to defend the people I love.
As you say that, Lyx, a visage of you, almost, it literally looks like a force ghost. Light blue appears out of nowhere in front of you. It looks totally splattered. It looks like a broken bone version of you just appears in front of you as this dark hand is holding it and pushing it closer to you. As this dead you starts itching forward and it touches you. And suddenly you have these memories. And how did this Lyx die?
So before Willow and Melvin moved to town, moved to Vogler, Lyx had recently moved back, just got there maybe a few weeks before them, and reconnected with Fan, her old classmate. And Fan had a new invention and asked me to try it, and I said sure. And he put me on the gnome flinger before it was ready, and forgot to double check the Nary pack, and the Nary pack didn't work, and so I was hurtled into the craggy, rocky shoreline from the gnome flinger.
Yeah, so that one decision version, you saying no in right now in your version of you saved your life, as this Lyx did not make it, but you consume, you feel all her experiences, very similar to you, but some of them different. You literally are obtaining her experience, and you are now level 5 officially, as you have just absorbed the essence of this other version of you, these memories, and even the memories of their death, kind of reminding you of mortality and how real it still is. Melvin, you were the next one to say yes. Are you still saying yes? Okay. How did this
Sure.
Melvin die, and how do they look?
This Melvin, this Melvin got stabbed in a knife fight in Gorge Harness. This Melvin probably stayed a little bit too long in Gorge Harness and the alleyways and the darkness, or maybe he didn't make it out of the Underdark at all.
Yeah, maybe I imagine like the final moments, like reaching again for the exit, kind of rethinking as they're bleeding out, trying to crawl up the, the passageway, the tunnel way out to the above ground, and dying before it's gone. And Melodia just kind of lingering on your chest, a jewel, an amulet lost to whoever is next to find you and it. And this dead version of you with this next version of you with stab wounds everywhere kind of floats at you as this dark hand is holding it, making it appear out of nowhere, and it starts to kind of disintegrate and be absorbed by you as you're literally gaining the experience of another Melvin, and you are now level 5. This Melvin knew other spells that you didn't know, and now you have them. They studied these spells. Same with you, Lyx. This Lyx learned spells that you did not try to channel, or for some reason you released before. So as you guys can see, this is my way to speed run that level 5. All right. Willow and Sneak, how did you guys die?
Okay, wait. So they asked for something, and then they had to give themselves away or something, right?
What do you mean?
Nuatari is like the god who runs the Shadow Temple.
Oh,
he's offering you power.
The big dark thing that ate.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is as Sneak. Like,
yep.
So it is power. Could I get like a demonic goat named Black Phillip that I can ride majestically into battle? Because that is power. Is that what I get from this?
And then I mean, there's no face, right? You guys can't see Nuatari at all. And Nuatari says, funnily enough, and there's a version of you that has horns sticking out of its abdomen, as this version of you, this ghostly version of you, seems to have been impaled by some kind of horrifying goat thing. And Nuatari shoves that onto you, and you're now level 5.
Okay, I did have a way I died though. Okay, so Sneak has dumb luck, but this version of Sneak is just very dumb. So like a lot of stuff Sneak gets away with is because he has luck to back him up and ends up being just fucking lucky. But this Sneak does not. So one day he was out running and he fucking wanted to do a dive he was against the grain of the wood. The flow was all off as he's running through the treetops, but he did a dive even though he knew the grain was off of the wood, and he head dived and just snapped his neck because he's dumb. But that was but I kind of like maybe he just ran into a goat and he got stabbed.
Yeah. Combine them both. He like kind of like was chasing the goat, maybe, right? You're chasing the goat. You see it, you're going Tarzan mode. You finally see this black demon goat that you want, and you just fuck up. You just do that one miss, that one you reach too far.
He waited for me and he plowed me, dude. Yeah.
That you kind of like snap your neck, and then the goat just finishes the job. Just make sure you're super dead. So yeah, this snap-necked Sneak with impaled horns impaling through the abdomen is absorbed by you, and you have all the experiences of this Sneak. You get that level 5 going, and I think, do you get the dodge or something at level 5?
Dodge roll
or something like that. Yeah, you get the dodge.
Yeah, and my sneak attack is up too.
Perfect. So yeah, the Sneak somehow was kind of good at those things, and then terrible at this other stuff that led to their demise. Okay, Willow, what do you got? This is probably not what you guys were expecting with the homework, I'm guessing.
Say mine's not nearly as funny as most everyone else's. I just kind of figured that there was an alternate timeline where when she died, when she was abandoned by her previous group, instead of like fighting and wanting to live, she just kind of accepted it, and that was the end.
Yeah, so you accept it, everyone kind of thinks you're dead and you are dying, and they walk away.
Yeah, she just didn't have any fight left in her. She just That's it.
So this kind of defeated Willow. She looks kind of like almost like she's sleeping gracefully, starts floating at you, giving into death, kind of a semi-peaceful expression to them in spite of the darkness of giving up, and you absorb their essence. And you're level 5. Cool. So I think we can take a break soon. But I just wanted to say that out of character again, DM Cristian here, I'm definitely going to slow down the level ups moving forward. There'll be, more further spaced out. And I think level 5 is also a good level to like really hone in on everything your character has, kind of really get to understand them better. So yeah, we won't be leveling up as quickly, just to kind of set that expectation moving forward. But I do like level 5. I kind of like getting players there because this is when you guys unlock more cool stuff. A lot of the classes just have more access to fun things. And I thought this was kind of a fun narrative way to fast forward that, even though technically you guys went from level 4 to 5 in a day. Okay, sound good? Everyone okay with slower level ups moving forward? Definitely going to be more experience and stuff needed. But yeah, I think we can go ahead and take another break, and we can get back at whatever the 40 of your time is. Well, you all suddenly awaken back at the entrance. Each of you are in one of the 4 pools of water, and you guys can see this on roll 20 now. Kind of a light stream from the water that's kind of cycling around, falling upon you. And it would be a soothing sensation, especially after all the events that have happened, except Isabella is here in the middle platform, this tall platform, and she's just on, she's prone, kind of looking at the pool below her and just crying, just bawling, just cries of pain. And she's kind of saying something incomprehensible. It's hard to tell from this angle. And you guys are all just waddling around in the pools, it seems, as Isabella's crying.
Melvin's gonna get out of the water and kind of like splutter and pull himself out of the water, checking his stuff. Does he still have the tuning sword?
Yeah, it's still there.
Well, so it was real.
And Melodia's amulet is still not lighting up. That's something you notice again.
Yeah, I think Willow's gonna get up and start moving like towards the center pool, so we all have like a central convening place, and also to check in on Isabel.
Yeah, she's kind of, as you get closer to her, she just starts saying, they're all gone. The red robes and the white robes. They betrayed us. They killed us all. Why? Why did my sisters save me to bear this burden alone? And she's just mourning the loss of her sisterhood. And she keeps crying. And as she keeps crying, she starts to look like, you notice this weird ooze start to form on her hair and body as she's seemingly just kind of like turning into this weird jelly that's still crying and crying and crying. And it's just echoing in these halls. And it seems like she's still speaking, but something's going on in her. You can kind of still see her form in this mucus like goo, but she's just crying.
Lyx gets out of the little pool and kind of stumbles, maybe leans on Sneak, who looks like nearby, and starts walking toward the center. And do I see everything that happens with Isabella?
Yeah, you probably see, if you were looking ever at that area, you saw her like kind of start slowly turning into jelly like mucus thing, and you can still see her form in there. It almost looks like she's being engulfed in some weird thing, but yeah, it almost looks like she's melting in a way and just crying and crying, and you all hear the crying. It's echoing through the halls.
Isabella, come back.
Melvin starts to cry.
You cry. Okay.
Emotional support.
I think Sneak is still laying there, just like really thinking about what he had just witnessed. Like with his parents, he has a lot of questions. Who was it his parents were aiming to kill? Did I get to see who it was? He literally does not give a fuck about anything that's going on around him. He does not care about the crying or the wailing. He doesn't even know this girl's name. Like if he's not an immediate friend, he doesn't know your name.
Makes sense. So Melvin, you're crying. Are you just kind of crying in this corner? What emotion? Why is Melvin crying? If I can ask, what is Melvin feeling?
I think Melvin is like overwhelmed. He's set like the sensory overwhelming. He's watched himself die. He's watched a scene that he feels that he was at. It's almost like when he lives in the amulet feel it when Melodia is there, but he's not sure. Who was that man? Where was that place in Gordrahanas? Why was he there? Melvin certainly doesn't know about any fucking clubs. Or he does, but this was weird. It's a memory that's not quite concrete. And on top of just the wailing, he's kind of gripping the tuning swords.
True. Yeah, remember it, and you actually hear the song that she sang into that sword to help create it. You kind of hear it again. It rings out when you hold it close, almost like a conch. Hold it close to your ear, you can hear the song.
What's that song called?
Eyes Like Nightshade.
Eyes Like Nightshade.
Yeah, so Sneak, I'm imagining Sneak kind of dazed out, just thinking just of his family and of the questions again. Maybe getting some answers, but still creating more questions, I'm sure, Sneak, and just zoning
100%.
out, not really focused on what's going on here and now.
Yeah, it's internal dialogue. He's very selfish right now. He has so many questions.
And so Willow, what are you doing? You're like, I see you next to Isabella.
Yeah, she was just trying to get as close to everybody as she could, not knowing where they were all going, obviously. I guess I'm gonna try to figure out what this ooze is coming from her, because that's pretty freaking weird.
So you're gonna touch it?
No.
Okay, how are you trying to figure out what it is?
Trying to look at it and see where it's coming from, what it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like it's just almost emanating out of her. It's hard to fully comprehend, but like it's just forming on her. It's like the sadness itself. Go ahead and do an arcane check. And also, I forgot to note that this area is lit up again, and it feels kind of more normal again. There's still kind of bats flying around, but it's not the eternal darkness of before. And it actually looks like the entrance is open again. It seems like everything was kind of how when you guys first got here. With the 14, you know that you don't know the actual answers, but you feel that somehow her emotions and the little bit that you've picked up on the knowledge of the tide from your friends, her emotions have just channeled into this powerful tide energy, and her emotions are becoming visible arcane power. And yeah, she's just given to her emotions right now, her sadness, her sorrow at losing everyone and being in a new
Ask
time.
her if she knows what's happening.
You kind of hear this gurgling, bubbling voice kind of go back to you, still crying. Nuitari, he showed me everything. I remember who I was. I remember what happened. And she's just hands and you kind of see her a little bit humanoid in this weird mucus that she's covered in as it kind of starts to drip now over the platform and seep into the pool itself. This weird, it's transparent, this weird transparent kind of mucusy thing.
Well, as soon as it hits the water, I'm going to get out of the water, but still be near her and just start to ask, like, what did he show you? What do you remember? What happened?
Everything you have all seen, I'm sure. The battle that was fought here, the betrayal. They saw the black robes as a threat and wished to end our order. And we used our power, but we used too much of it and summoned beings beyond imagination, beings that destroyed our temple, that changed our people, and we beat them. But we lost ourselves in the process, and I'm all that's left, and I don't know why.
Maybe you have to hold on for them. You're the last of them. You are their legacy.
What do you know what I'm feeling? What do you know about being the last of anything?
I don't know what I am.
She's just kind of still crying, unsure of what that meant.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm on back off. I'm not being super helpful here. Somebody else is better with emotions, please.
She is kind of like slowing down her crying, actually. She was able to talk to you, and she's kind of just wailing the why. Oh, sorry, Melvin, go ahead.
Maybe Melvin sort of adds that he'll always remember her songs and pulls the tuning sword out. Maybe brings it a little closer to her so she can hear it, that he knows the song.
Yeah,
her songs, your songs will live on.
Right, very physically with what you're showing her. So the song, the kind of beat kind of kicks in again from the song, and she kind of lifts her head up, and then she looks at you and says, music has kept me together this whole time. It wasn't just my sisters or even Lord Nuitari. It was the power of music, the stories that I've told and that I maybe yet will tell. And the ooze kind of like starts to fall off of her a little bit, slowly by slowly. I don't know why. And then suddenly Melvin and Willow next to you is the mother all of a sudden again, veiled in black robes, and she says, because as you said, you can tell our story, and you are purest of heart, Isabella. One more vengeful than you could lead to our permanent ruin, but you will not give in to the vengeance even after all child. We believe in your creativity and in your heart. And then they all appear, hundreds of them, black robes appearing, flooding this room again. And I'll let you all do a perception check, actually, to everybody. Maybe, unless Sneak, you don't have to do it if you don't want to, if you want to dive into your zoning out. Although you do see lots of black robed people everywhere, so that is somewhat alarming. Oh shit, okay. Oh wow, okay, yeah. I mean, Willow and Lyx, you obviously see all the black robes appearing all of a sudden. Maybe you're touched by the mother's words, right? That Isabella is the purest of them, is what she said, right? That she won't give in to the vengeance, even after everything that's happened. Willow and Lyx, you see a being with long, black, flowing hair, purely black everywhere, sitting at the top of the circle in the ceiling where Nuatari is shining through, just kind of sitting and watching, not doing anything, the wind blowing through their hair as they stare down at this scene. And as this is happening, Melvin, you obviously don't notice this, but one of the black robes approaches you, Melvin, from behind and has a vial of something that looks very dark, some liquid that looks incredibly dark and viscous. And they look at you and say, "You are not like the child of darkness. Do you wish to be a black robe? I sense the pureness in your heart. You do not strike me as one of us."
My song is a different one.
It is, but the tyrants will come for you as they came for us. And you see now what they're capable of. Take this. This is a false essence of Nuatari. Find someone who is a skilled tattoo artist. Put this on your body somewhere. And unless they have true sight, you will fool everyone into thinking you are one of us. So she's giving you a vial of false Nuatari essence. So basically it'll create an illusion of a tattoo on you. I mean, it will be a tattoo, but it'll create the illusion of its arcane properties. So it'll look pretty much to anyone except if they have true sight, it'll look as it does to Lyx. So it's a way to potentially hide yourself from the red and white robes if you so wish to. Otherwise, they will try to have you join their forces. So yeah, all of the black robed individuals are now surrounding Isabella and all of you, and they all kind of smile at you all pretty kindly, and they each one by one just slowly go to Isabella and embrace her, hug her, give her some kind of words of encouragement, and then one by one they start floating up into the moonlight through the ceiling's hole, heading straight up into the sky. Hundreds of them, like slow moving black doves, just floating up and up, their robes dripping behind as they go one by one, saying that they love Isabella. Some of them are thanking all of you for saving her. They touch her. Some of them do maybe try to hug you guys too, but they can't actually hug you. They have no form. Is there anything you all do as this is happening? This is hundreds of them just kind of slowly moving around. And Isabella's obviously crying. She seems like maybe it's more of a crying of believing in who she was again.
Sneak might chime in. This is fucking weird, right? But just to like say that.
No one says anything.
Yeah, I think I'll try to like politely nod at the ones that are trying to reach out to me. I don't really know how to interact with something incorporeal, but something to let them know that I appreciate the gesture.
Yeah, and some of them kind of nod back at you, kind of attempting to interact with them. Yeah, and they just keep floating up almost like black balloons, you know, all of them being together up in the space all at once. And
so I'd like to kind of like give my thanks, and I want to, if you're okay with it, I want to do a flip on the new hand trick that they gave me, the Toll the Dead, which is the bells, but they're already dead, so I hope it's almost like a sound of coming home for them, or like some sort of relief.
Okay, do it. And so don't roll anything. So what do you want this to look like?
I think basically it's verbal and somatic, so maybe I'm just like really lightly moving my hands and speaking out with the spell, and then kind of like deep resonant bells start going. It sounds like they're coming through maybe toward where they're going, kind of up into the astral plane, wherever they're headed, and just kind of like a feeling or an incantation of thank you, and thanking them for sharing their magic with me and letting me join their very private order.
Yeah, and some of them actually like try to touch you. Obviously, there's no feeling. Appreciative of the bells that you're adding to the scene. Definitely, not causing them harm. And they say, "You are one of us now, Lyx, but you are free to do as you will, as we all should be, as we all are now." And then that one kind of like starts floating away as well from you.
I'll shout to them and just say I'll do my best to honor your teachings.
Yeah, and then the mother is the last one, kind of waiting as everyone passed by. And she goes to Isabella and says, "Take your time, Isabella. We will always be with you through Nuatari. Look up to the sky at night if you ever need us again." And Isabella tries to like hug her, but obviously there's no form there. But there's an attempt at an embrace as she then like kind of like flows through her arms. Her ex-leader, the leader of this group at that time, starts to float away into the ceiling hole. And yeah, and your bells kind of keep on ringing. The wind is kind of blowing and they're all gone. Nuatari's gone. There's no being up there anymore. And it's just Isabella and all of you.
I think I'm going to walk over to Isabella and just kind of like offer like physical support for her, having also lost my own parents. I kind of know what she's going through, but I don't really want to tell her that because she didn't respond super well to me earlier. So just being there if she needs.
She accepts your. Sorry, are you hugging her? Sorry, or just kind of like.
Yeah, like kind of have an arm around her, not like a full hug,
Yeah.
but just if you need to lean on me, like I'm physically here, but also if you don't, fine.
No, she accepts it this time and looks at you and says, "Thank you all so much. I know you have no idea what's going on here, but you all were meant to be here, clearly. And I'm not sure what my next path is here, but even if it's sweeping these halls until I find an answer, I'm still happy I've seen you all. And well, I don't know if you know anything of the tide, but I was a scriber for spell scrolls. So if you all ever need help in creating spell scrolls for whatever reason, I'm always here to provide support, or anything you need with, I guess, with what I know about Nuatari and some of the gods of darkness that have been perceived in a negative light. But I do admit that I need some time just to see what this place is like now." So she is saying that in the future, Isabella can be kind of a source of arcane knowledge, and she can actually help you all create spell scrolls. Spell scrolls, for those that don't know, are basically spells locked into a usable item that you use one time, and then that spell comes out. And I believe even non-magic users might be able to use them. I need to check that. Maybe not. Oh, that's true, because if it's a higher level, like you have to have the level for it. Okay, sorry, non-magic users. But this is going to be, I'm hoping it can be also an out-of-session thing if you want to create spells, scrolls. There will be cost to them. There will be like resources needed and such because they're strong. And normally you create spell scrolls of spells that you know, but Isabella knows some too. So I'm still kind of crafting what that'll look like, but it'll come down the line. But yeah, she's also can be a great repository of knowledge for arcane stuff. And actually, Melvin, she goes up to you and kind of thanks you for reminding her of her song. And she says, "Music is magic. I know you know this, Melvin. If you ever have a tune you want me to listen to, and I don't know, and see if there's anything there, I'm also here to help you with that. You've all saved my life and you freed my sisters. I am forever in your debt." And then she kind of like goes through her bag and she's like, "And Mr. Kender," she looks at you, Sneak, "I'm not sure why you wanted my diary, but I guess if you want it, it's yours. It's the least I can give you after everything that you've done for me." So if you recall last session, you wanted her diary.
I did want it really bad. Honestly though, Sneak has not gotten up yet, but now he's like on his back, and like he has like the whole time everything has been going on, all he's been thinking about is like his experience. So like he's very callous and he seems very cold right now. So he's like, "Womp womp, like take your book. I don't care. Like what are we doing?" So that's kind of his reaction right now. He doesn't care about anything. So
okay. She's pretty surprised by this, but kind of in a good way. She's like, "Oh, all right then. Well, thank you." And she kind of puts her diary away. And then she goes to you, Lyx, and it's like, "I see you've joined our coven. How does that feel, knowing what you know now?"
I feel like I have a lot to learn from you. But Isabella, there's a lot of people who faced hardship that are moving to Calaman right now. And we're actually, refugees to the city, and we've been given housing. And if you ever are seeking company, I would welcome you.
I appreciate that, but Calaman is the home of the people that destroyed my people, and they run that place as far as I know. Maybe it's different now. Maybe I can go in a guise, but I would love to meet whoever helped create all of you.
We have ways of writing secret messages. we'll try to maybe communicate with you and let you know what's going on within the city, because there is a lot going on. War is imminent.
Oh shit, nice. So you're offering to use the emerald pen to kind of write notes. That's genius. Okay, cool. So yeah, moving forward, that's how I guess you guys can secretly communicate with Isabella. You can communicate via letter, and no one will know what is in those. No one will know the content of those words except for Isabella and you all. So nice. Sorry, I'm catching up on the chat real quick. Yes, and Sneak is breathing, but he's in a daze. And yeah, and Isabella thanks you, Melvin, and says, well, there's a lot of cleaning here to do, but this is also a home away from home for you all if you ever need me. I guess you all can stay here unless you have urgent business in the morning. I don't know if our dormitories are ready or if they're still flooded.
So above table, when are we supposed to meet the general with
Tomorrow morning is when
Okay,
you're
so we
supposed
do
to
have
meet.
business. Okay.
Yes.
It's been weeks real time, so I just wanted to
Yeah,
check.
I know. No, you're right. You're right. Tomorrow is your training session with Marshall, Nestra, and Darrett first thing in the morning.
Which above board, at which time I think Willow should get some new armor.
Wait, what?
Nothing.
Errol has been nagging me that I need armor because apparently it would make my AC better, which is true, but
She hasn't been wearing any
brought it up
mechanically.
4 times today.
I think barbarians, I can double check, but barbarians might be able to not wear armor and be good. I think I could double check that.
Yeah, what's yours?
Their AC is like their constitution and dex or something. I can double check that though. Yeah, so are you all saying goodbye to Isabella? Are you guys gonna head back to Calaman through the forest at night?
Creepy temple, creepy forest.
This is the temple. You guys did it. Congratulations. You completed the Shadow Temple finally, and you're all level 5 officially with all your feats and all your goodies. And you guys got a bunch of stones and crap too. So hopefully you all took note of that. All the crap all the loot that you found. Oh, and Lyx, I will say that at some point in the water stuff, you found a tank of whatever for the Bilbricks quest. So you can mark that one down. I feel like there would be something, some kind of big bowl or something, some big glass bowl thing. So you're just missing the steam engine or something?
I need to double check my list. I think it's
Okay. It's
the engine and pipes.
Cool. Alrighty. But yeah, I mean, Isabella's kind of looking at you all like if you're going to stay somewhere here in the cold floors of the temple, or if you're going to somehow try to make it back to your camp at the port still. Perhaps some have moved on to other housing, but it's unclear at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately, at least 2 of our party members, me and another that's not with us, have some urgent business tomorrow morning. So I personally can't stay, although I'm not opposed to anybody else who wants to. We would certainly come back and visit, of course. I just can't stay tonight.
Totally understand. And Melvin, even this brief time I've known you look more assured of yourself. I can see it in your eyes. And that sword belongs to you. Now I know it for sure. Tell me someday the great deeds you accomplish with that blade. Perhaps we can make a song of it together.
It shall be our rhapsody.
I love that. And she kind of like claps her hands together and she's like, the music will keep me moving. I know it. If I can find my blasted instruments in this mess. And she's kind of like rubbing her head and saying, you guys don't happen to have a broom, do you? Or anything that cleans? I don't think you guys do.
Just a beer sponge.
Oh, I'd imagine all of that's been washed away at this point.
I also have a decanter of endless water, but water does not seem to be something you're in need of, so.
Certainly not, no. If you had the opposite of that, that would be perfect. Alrighty. So is this goodbye then? Well, she kind of strums at her little harp that she kind of takes out, just playing some notes, kind of trying to get her fingers going again after trembling in sadness, just humming to herself, not really making a clear tune or song yet, as you all start walking down the long hall back to the entrance. And you're there again at the Crescent Moon Lake where it all began. And I assume you all are going to use the folding boat, or are you going to just swim on back to shore?
We're going to use the folding boat.
Yeah, so
Melvin stares at Sneak. We're going to use the folding boat.
Boat, come here, damn it.
and the big old boat comes out of that almost paper boat size shape, becoming big enough for all of you. You all grab the rudders. Shit, what the fuck are they called? Paddles. Paddles. What am I saying? Paddles, and go to town as the temple, the black obsidian, spiky, beautiful temple, yet haunting, gets further and further away from you all. And of course, the 3 moons of Kryn catch your eye as always. And now you all just know exactly where the moon of Nuatari is. It's unmissable to you all as it lingers high up in the sky. Ravens fly by in the night. The Dargard Mountains loom miles and miles away, ever thundering, ever gloomy, and Castle Calaman's peak can be seen just over the forest edge. As you all see that same couple who are unnamed, you guys never kind of met, you never actually approached them or anything. They're just kind of at the beach again, and they're like, how was that? What the hell? What was that place?
You wouldn't believe us if we told you.
You guys were in there for like 10 minutes. What'd you find? Was it too scary?
I already forgot.
10 minutes?
I don't know. I didn't track time, but like it felt that way. And the elvish girl's like, I'm scared. Let's go home.
Melvin just puts his hand on Willow's shoulder. He looks just as tripped out. Excuse us, it must have been too much wacky tobacco, you know.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
All right. And then he kind of like steps back a little scared, and he's like, we're gonna go home. We'll see you all. And they kind of start walking back toward Calaman.
Get home safe.
They kind of like awkwardly look at you and just kind of speed up their like walk. Yeah, and we can end soon, but maybe you guys can share, I don't know, a final exchange with each other as you walk back, or is there, maybe you can be nice to the DM, let him know what you're thinking of doing next session, etc., etc. Willow, you got an appointment for sure with Dara and Nestra.
Does it look like the temple is sinking back at all, or is it just stationary even after we've left?
It looks like it's stationary now.
Okay.
And
Just wanted to confirm.
Yeah, it's there. It's out and about.
So do we set our museum tour for like 3 days from yesterday, I think?
Yeah, so technically it's only 2 days, but I think Ilastrius also said, well, now with his new, announcement of donating all his shit, he's a little busy again. You guys could go to the museum though, but he might not be able to show up.
Okay, and do we move into the mansion tomorrow?
He's moving stuff out probably today and tomorrow. But you can check it out. You guys can check it out.
We're staying on the docks for tonight and tomorrow night.
Most of you are at the docks. Mayor Raven left somewhere last that you all checked, but yeah.
I want to make sure that I find Derek before we go to bed and make sure he's still like up for the training tomorrow.
Yeah, you guys kind of have a long walk back. I guess a relatively quiet and peaceful walk back in the night of Calaman. You hear owls every now and then, maybe a distant wolf, but it was a generally peaceful walk back. You make it to port, and you do see Derek there at the end of one of the docks, just kind of looking out at the Calaman Bay, looking out at the giant statues of Heart and Huma, the giant dragon, and the legendary warrior Huma, and just looking at all the boats kind of still moving around. True. Do any of you share anything about your experiences?
I think Melvin's gonna check to see if the amulet of melodic enchantment seems to glow now that they've left the table.
It's back.
Or the temple, rather.
The second you touched the shore, it came back.
I think he's gonna like show Lyx and be like, she's back, but I didn't seem to need her. I've never really done it myself. I've always had her and you guys, of course, but it feels different now.
Since I've known you, your most inspiring moments have been Melvin, and Melodia has been amazing and incredible, but you should also know that you are too.
Thanks, Lyx. And check out these new black robes on you, Queen.
What about this? And then I show everyone that ugly Lyx in front of me. Just so my like armor magic. I have this like weird holographic version of gross me.
It looks like the one that we fought, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, Willow's immediately gonna be like, what? Because we already got attacked by it before.
Melvin's
gonna touch it?
Like,
no,
Melvin's
she's just gonna be ready to attack it.
Ew. Go away! And
What
he's gonna
is
use
it?
dispel magic.
Oh shit! Do you have that now? Nice. We'll just say it goes away. But Shadow Lyx has that same blank expression as before, just a blank version of herself, and just disappears.
Yeah, and I'll share what like like Melvin shared his vision, I'll share mine too with everyone.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and share mine too.
Oh shit.
Like the dragon or the Raven Queen wasn't particularly happy with Nuitari and all of his meddling, and that I don't know, on my own with that. Not that I really thought I had extra lines in there, but now it's confirmed. That's it.
So wait, so sorry, you guys are sharing everything? Lyx, at least?
That's a
Melvin
long walk.
too.
It is a long walk back. So
And I
Lyx,
think Melvin's going to mention that the gods seem to have beef with each other, that they've seen multiple weird visions of gods throughout their time together. Nuitari, Broncala, Kirijole, and really big Nuitari. And he seems to really hate Kisis. Did you guys feel that force when I even mentioned her in the temple? I think there's something to be said about the balance of this tide. I'm starting to understand it. And maybe Lyx can back me up. Feels so good. I almost feel better than ever. I mean, it's kind of like being on Wacky Tobacco, but times two, in a more energetic kind. Less the body kind and more the mind kind.
all right, I think why don't we just end it on that? So most of you share bits and
Is
pieces.
sneak sharing? Is sneak sharing or no?
Sneak, do you share anything about what you saw?
Nah.
He does not. So Lyx, you guys all know about Crate and Lyx. Melvin, did you share your story again? You're kind of, and yours was definitely a flash in the past. Like it was something that happened.
Yeah, and I shared that apparently I have a living relative somewhere.
Well, what she said was someone with your blood.
Well, Willow would
Your
take that to mean
bloodline.
relative,
Yeah.
but I can use those words, and if they extrapolate something else, that's
Do
fair.
you tell them what she said about the dragons, if you remember that?
Something about how one from the bloodline was going to either fix it or fail.
Yeah.
Either one of
Prevent-
us succeeds, the other succeeds, or we both fail.
Yeah.
Those are the
prevent the onslaught of thousands of dragons, basically.
Yeah.
From annihilating Kryn.
no pressure.
I was just
So-
about to say that. No pressure.
So and so you kind of learned a piece of why maybe the Raven Queen has shown interest in you there. Hopefully. Alrighty, but that's awesome. So you all have a nice walk back. Sneak kind of awkwardly silent in the background, still thinking about what he went through as you all share your crazy visions and stories. And we will pick up next time with Willow and your training, and then whatever you guys want to do in Calaman again. It's kind of another openish thing, so you guys can do things out of session again if you need to, buy stuff, whatever. And yeah, and we'll go from there. These immortals just crave drama. Yeah, you guys met a lot of gods now. I like gods. I like dragons. What can I say? Are you gonna touch it?
No.